How to describe Ellie in one word? I would say in one word, well, she was unique.
To describe Ellie would be amazing.
Sometimes she'd be like a drama queen. Whenever we stepped in her room or like filmed her singing or something, she'd be like, "Stop filming me."
She was her own spirit, her own force, her own person, and it didn't bother her, for the most part, that she lived her life that way, that she stood out in many ways for people, because she just had that unique soul and a different viewpoint than a lot of people had on how she wanted to look at things in her life.
Ellie was born a little over 16 years ago. Her birthday was on November 5th, 1999. Going into parenthood, you definitely, gosh, for your first one, you're just completely naive to what it's really going to take and how your life is going to change. You tell somebody this is your first child, and they'd be like, oh, good luck. That kind of, so you kind of are going into it with a little apprehension, but you expected a lot of hard work, but a lot of love and just happiness and memories is what you're hoping as you go into it.
Watching her grow up and the experiences she had, I think if we went back to our house in Atlanta, I could probably point within a couple of feet in the living room where she took her first step, those types of things. And so it just kind of grew from there in terms of just watching her grow and experience life.
Life was not easy for Ellie. She had ADHD, she had anxiety issues, she had sometimes trouble fitting in socially. So we were always going to a doctor, dealing with therapy, medicines, all this kind of stuff. She woke up that morning early and said that she was having a headache. Now, she's had them. The doctor also said that she thought it was probably teenage hormones that she was experiencing. So I said, why don't you just go lay down for a little bit more for her to get ready for school and, look at your phone or just kind of try to relax and see if it'll go away. So about 30 minutes later, Todd came in and I said, go check. At the time I was laying with my younger daughter in her bed. And I said, go check on Ellie. She said she has a headache. And part of us are like, she doesn't want to go to school, it's the second day. So Todd starts talking to her and he's like, we really need to try. And he's like, go down and get her some ibuprofen. I go downstairs. Then all of a sudden Todd's like, Karen, come up here. And she had passed out.
Took her to one hospital. They didn't have pediatric neurology there, so we took her to UNC. And so that first day, it was really just Karen and me at the hospital, and then her sister arrived, and then all of our family kind of converged.
And we found out that she had an aneurysm on her brain stem that was inoperable, and it was the size of a plum.
We were optimistic about what the outcome was going to be, because we hadn't gotten to that point where we weren't going to bring her home.
She had 3 different surgeries, and the swelling was just so severe that they could never bring it down.
And then the final conversation, where they told her we were going to lose her.
They said the essence of her was gone. That even if she wouldn't be who she was, and so we had to take her off life support, which is really just a crazy thing to think that you have to go out and say, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to let her go. And so I laid with her and hugged her, and I got to see her come into this world, and I got to see her leave.
We don't want this to be about us and how we live. We want it to be more about how we can do what we can with this to try to live in a world where this doesn't happen. Where parents don't have to go through losing a child, where sisters don't have to go through losing a sibling, to something that flies under the radar in so many cases until until it happens to your family. And that was us. I mean, we didn't know the first thing about brain aneurysms.
And so with that, we then determined, we started what we call is Live Like Ellie. It's just what we think the essence of who she was, what was so good about her, and that's what the page is. So, we started off with just a basic Facebook page, then we talked with the Brain Aneurysm Foundation about starting a race.
That became a logical thing. We wanted to do something that was of a physical nature in terms of something that people could attend to, as a group, and not just, with just drive-by conversations every now and then about different things. We wanted something to be a community event. I remember a lot of conversations in the beginning about how are we ever going to raise $10,000? That's just not us, to go out and ask people for money. How are we going to make that happen? And how many sponsors do we need to get? And how are we going to get the courage to go out and ask people to give us that money to sponsor our race, people who don't even know us? And I think that's some of that Ellie kicking in right there, is that it wouldn't have bothered. I mean, she'd walk into rooms full of strangers and say, "Hi, I'm Ellie."
The best part for me was just once we got it set up on that morning, was just walking around and talking to people.
There's like 500 people, and I wanted to I wish the race was longer because I couldn't talk to everybody. But yeah, it was crazy.
The race was sad and happy at the same time because I knew that Ellie would be smiling that we did something so awesome for her, and also it'd be sad because she wasn't there.
We had 507 participants, and we raised $44,000. It just takes your breath away. I mean, it's really just incredible.
Those things that come out of this continue to be the blessings. The blessing that we had her for the 14 years that we did, and the blessings of her sisters and our family and our friends and complete strangers who want to get involved and help. I think those are the things that just get us through everything, and make us want to do this kind of thing and more.
I don't know if she could see it or not, but I think she would be in awe of it. Even something as simple as the school doing the bingo night and all of these people coming, and we raised just $2,000 that night for, I would think, and people, she loved Minions, so people dressed up as Minions. She loved superheroes, so people dressed up as superheroes. And I thought she would be just in awe of this. Who wouldn't?
This is her story, this is her life, this is her legacy. It's just, we need to do something with that, and we need to do something about brain aneurysms. And this is what we have in our life right now. And going home and closing the drapes and locking the doors and sitting in a dark room isn't going to do anybody any good. And that's not how she lived. So that's not how we're going to live. And that's, and that's going to be the driving force for us to do what we're doing.